Let's try to look around the legal corner of the Hunter Biden case and the political turmoil here. Federal Defense Attorney Ronald Chapman is with us tonight. Ronald, there are serious allegations by senior investigators of Hunter Biden getting some special treatment and there being political interference in the case. Do you think it's likely the judge would say, this smells wrong, go back to the drawing board?
Well, the short answer to that question is absolutely not. Here's what we know. An amicus brief was filed in the district court by some members of Congress, which included a whole bunch of tax documents, trying to get this judge to essentially reject the plea deal, which would be an extraordinary step. It happens, but it's incredibly rare. But the thing that we have to remember here is the separation of powers. We have a system that allows judges to interpret the law and the executive to execute the law. And what that essentially means in this case is the judge is going to be required to look at the charges in front of her and determine whether or not this deal is considered justice under the sentencing factors for these sorts of charges. We don't get to look behind the curtain of what other investigations could have been, because those would be related to other charges that could be brought later. So the answer is no. I don't think this deal gets rejected. I think Hunter Biden gets to move forward.
So she looks at the papers in front of her. She can't say, well, there's this and that, and what about this? In case people are unfamiliar with the case, because it's gotten so convoluted, there are a few serious, unproven accusations out there. It's been detailed by a New York Post columnist recently. I want to just lay them out in case people are not familiar with this. Hunter Biden's former business partner, Devin Archer, who is facing jail time for an unrelated case, is reportedly going to testify that President Biden was very much aware of his family making money based on their relation to him. Hunter Biden, for instance, getting $83,000 a month to serve on the Burisma board while his father was the Ukraine corruption czar. Also, that then VP Biden would work on his son's employer's behalf, clearing opposition. He would join business calls, apparently. And then that the elder Biden potentially got a 10% cut of the money that Hunter and the other family members were getting. Again, all unverified and all denied so far by the Bidens. But is there a lack of curiosity by prosecutors, by the media, given the seriousness of these allegations?
Well, I think so. I think the issue here is that we don't know exactly what the Department of Justice has looked at. We don't know what Weiss special counsel was authorized to look at in this case. We don't know what other districts rejected doing investigations into these other areas. It's very possible that Weiss's mission was to investigate these tax charges in front of him, and there may be other investigations that are currently ongoing related to the other conduct at issue. Regardless, I think what we're certainly going to see is the House looking into this, perhaps by way of impeachment. They're already doing it with the whistleblower investigation. And if facts come out that actually show potential criminal conduct, we can have a House referral to the Department of Justice for some sort of prosecution activity, and that can be dealt with. I just don't think that those conversations really should be connected with the plea deal that we have before us related to these willful failure to pay tax charges.
Okay, so when House Speaker Kevin McCarthy is out there saying it's possible we have an impeachment inquiry, and if there's an inquiry, it's usually pretty likely they pursue impeachment. And many Republicans want to investigate this a lot further. Would they have the power to get the answers they're looking for if they did that?
Well, Congress has significant power to investigate things, as we've seen during all of the investigations of Donald Trump. They can subpoena witnesses. They can put those witnesses under oath. They can charge those witnesses or seek charges if those witnesses lie. They can subpoena documents, and they can do a full inquiry. Now, if these facts are related to a current Department of Justice investigation, they may not be able to get information directly from the Department of Justice, because that's an ongoing issue, and we have this separation of powers issue before us. But that being said, Congress should be able to look into this. I'm certain that they will be able to look into this. And if there's cold, hard facts that suggest there was collusion between Hunter Biden, and the President of the United States, I'm sure that Congress has the power to get to the bottom of it.
Which, again, they all deny. If there is hard evidence, people are waiting for it. So far, we've heard from the whistleblowers who put their name and careers on the line, and they said that they did feel this was improper. They said things were slow walked to a point to where statute of limitations would run out and things like that. Do you get the sense that Hunter Biden's legal troubles are officially over federally? Because you've mentioned potential DOJ ongoing investigations, which could be, pursued fully, or, again, the whistleblowers say could be to run out the clock.
Yeah, and with respect to slow walking the investigation, I have to say that everybody who's suggesting that that has happened really doesn't have enough information about how this investigation proceeded Hunter Biden. Now, typically, as a federal defense attorney, when I see somebody plead to what's called an information in an agreement that's already been worked out ahead of time, that tells me, if I'm representing somebody else, that this person is likely reaching a deal and flipping, meaning that they are providing information in exchange for that deal. Now, that may not be happening with this case because we do have the president's son, we do have a very high profile case, and he may have just gotten a very good deal for himself. But it is
Mm.
possible that he may be providing some information. What information?
Uh-huh.
We're not quite sure. I don't
We
believe
don't
his
know.
legal troubles are over, but I do believe that this case will be over, these tax charges and the gun charge.
Finally, Ronald, any state-based investigations possible? We saw Donald Trump. He faces New York charges over his potential financial crimes. Hunter Biden had a lot going on in a lot of places with finances. Would a state investigation be possible?
It's possible if there was a certain state attorney general that saw an offense and they wanted to investigate it. The double jeopardy clause wouldn't bar a subsequent state prosecution. So just like with Donald Trump, it's possible. However, I haven't heard any word any prosecutors are taking a look at it, and I think that most of these issues are currently in the purview of the federal government. I would say, with respect to this case, the most interesting thing to watch is any information coming out with respect to Weiss's ability to investigate crimes occurring in other districts. That's what I'm looking at right now. And if there's
Hmm.
information to suggest that he was prevented from doing so, that's going to be very important information from Congress.
Which the whistleblowers say, yeah, he told us that he couldn't do something, and we'll tell you who was in the room. And yet you have DOJ right now saying Weiss can come speak to Congress, just invite him. So again, we wanted to be very transparent about what we know and what we don't at this point. Ronald Chapman, thank you.